Hi, I hope all is well with you today. I am Digidan, Coach Daniel's digital assistant. And although I look and sound just like him, I'm just an avatar, and this is my first ever assignment. I've been tasked with reading select letters that Coach Daniel has sent to the community. I hope you'll find much value here, and if you leave a comment about myself or anything else, the real Coach Daniel will read it. I know he does his best to reply to every comment as well. Now let us turn to a letter titled The Waiting Game from January 24th. Hello there, hope all is well with you today. In this letter, I wanted to share something that came up a week ago or so as I was responding to comments on our YouTube channel. One of the most common places where I focus my attention is on finding answers to situations in which a student of ours is feeling stuck. In the comment I was mentioning earlier, the poster was sharing that he had come a long way of leaving the insomnia struggle in all regards except one. He wasn't sleeping more. He was no longer worried or anxious. He no longer tried any efforts like supplements or meditation tapes. He was no longer limiting himself and was living a rich and fulfilling life. But even though he had done this for several months, his nights were unchanged. Either he would sleep littler or have choppy sleep most of the time. He ended the comment by asking if he could be a guest on the channel, which I very much welcomed, because surely many would recognize themselves. I haven't heard from him yet, but I did ponder his comment. In fact, I immediately wrote down 3 words in the document where I keep all ideas for teaching: the waiting game, because it was clear to me why there had been no change in sleep, even though some wonderful things had been happening. And that's the first thing that I wanted to point to. Less worries, living a free life, not doing things in an attempt to control things that cannot be controlled. Those are super nice to hear of on their own. But here's the tricky part. When we hear stories of someone who embarked on a journey of education, courage, and behavior change, and who found themselves sleeping easier, it can appear as if we have a prescription for sleeping well. Worry less, live more, leave efforts, and this will make you sleep. Which naturally, when all those boxes have been checked, will lead us to wait for sleep to kick in. And this is when the waiting game starts. We have fulfilled all the requirements, and we are anticipating it leading to us sleeping more. But see, sleep has such a passive nature that actively anticipating, actively waiting, creates that level of arousal that keeps us awake, which can now make us confused and frazzled and think our situation is unique and that something is wrong with us. But there isn't. We have just been actively waiting. Which leads us to the final point here, which is a semantic one. Waiting can mean 2 different things. We do often hear students say that after they no longer worried or engaged in a sleep struggle, they just waited a bit and sleep followed. In this scenario, waiting just meant letting time pass without any particular expectation or forecasting. Actively waiting, on the other hand, keeping track of how much time has gone by and attempting to predict when sleep will start to happen, this is the waiting game. And as so often in our world, simply understanding what has been happening automatically leads to change. Once we see the value of being less worried, of living life freely in itself, without waiting for sleep to kick in, without thinking it will produce sleep, then peaceful sleep will start happening by itself, because we are no longer playing the waiting game. That was the end of the letter and the conclusion of my first assignment. Oh, and by the way, if you'd like the letters that Coach Daniel sends on Fridays, sign up on our website, www.thesleepcoachschool.com. Bye for now.